So if you look at this question, it says that, in most of the countries, increasing number of people are, suffering from health concerns as they are over dependent or overtly dependent on fast food and canned food. And it is therefore necessary that the government or the state, they can levy heavy taxes or, high taxes, high tariffs. So to what extent do you agree or disagree? So this is the task question. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So in IELTS essay questions, you always have these two parts. So you have the topic and the task. So this is the task question, and this is basically an opinion essay. So again, as I always say that, whether you are, when the question is asking you for your opinion, you can give a strong opinion, you can give a balanced opinion, but whatever be your opinion, whether it's strong opinion or whether it is your balanced opinion, you always have to remember that you are, throwing light on both the sides. So you're supposed to consider both the sides, and then you are supposed to give your own opinion. So we are starting with, again, the structure remains the same. So if you have a strong opinion, then you're giving all the arguments in favor of your opinion, but then again, you are trying to compare or contrast with the other side. So even if you have a strong opinion throughout the essay, you're talking about the arguments in your favor, do remember that you're also, trying to compare with the other side, and you're doing. So as I can see that she has given a strong opinion statement that there is enough compelling evidence, which basically says that she has a strong opinion. Right? To agree with this viewpoint is avoiding this kind of food and acting healthy could be overwhelmingly beneficial for commuters. Okay, anyway, so this talks about there is enough compelling evidence. Now, enough compelling evidence basically means that it is talking about a strong opinion. Now, this is the question that we are discussing, right? Now, if you look at this body para 1, let's talk about this body para 1. Okay. So Shiva, can you read? Can you read on your own? And Aparna also, can you read on your own this body para? And can you tell me whether this argument fits in the question that is asked? So this is the question. This is the question. Right? This is the question. Yes. So in this question, as you can see that it says that, the state of health and well-being is deteriorating or degrading. And so state should be imposing higher taxes, or, state should be imposing high tariffs. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now, she has taken a strong opinion. So she says there is enough compelling evidence, which is basically a strong opinion statement, which is absolutely fine. Now, all that I'm trying to ask you is that go through this para, this one, and tell me, does the content of this para serves the purpose?
No, actually we need to, even I was doing the same mistake when I was written this opinion. We need to focus on more government increasing the taxes, but she is concentrated on that food habits and all.
Right. What about you, Aparna?
Ma'am, I just read the matter.
Yeah, just read body para 1 and tell me the content, because in IELTS you have the 4 marking criteria, right? Task achievement, task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. So we'll come to grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resource, coherence, cohesion much later. First, we have to see that the content is completely relevant, or the content is completely on the topic. So I just wanted to know that is the content on the topic which is discussed in the question. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you show me the question once again?
This is the question. This is the question in red.
You're suffering from inconsistency of defeating too much of fast food. Okay, ma'am. So
Yeah. Is the content relevant to the question? The question is asking you that there is a development, there is a policy that the government has, should be enforcing, and that should be imposing or, levying higher tariffs on this kind of fast food. And if you look at the content of this particular para, is this
so
para
she talk about the what are the causes of eating fast food, how it affect the health.
right?
Um,
Right. If you look at this para, you'll see for a start, bad eating habits such as overconsumption. She's talking about the fact that, how and what are the adverse consequences or ill effects on your health, both psychological, physical, mental, when you are consuming fast food or canned food, right?
okay.
Yes. But if you look at this entire para, in this entire para, she has not at all talked about the main idea of the question. What is the main idea of the question? The question is telling you that, this
Should the
policy,
government
yes, this policy of
put
increasing the
the high taxes
taxes,
for these kinds of foods?
right? Is that, do you agree that, this is going to address, do you agree that this is going to address the concern, or do you think that this will not address the concern? So the entire content of this body para 1 is not relevant, right?
Okay.
So she has to talk about how imposing taxes on canned food can reduce consumption, or you can say can address the problem. Is that clear? Right? So
Okay.
see, sometimes, we do not even understand the question. So this is a very good example wherein the candidate or the aspirant could not even understand, could not have a global understanding of the question, could not understand what the question was talking about. And, she wrote about the bad effects, the adverse consequences, the repercussions of over dependence and excessive consumption of fast food. What happens if you are having a lot of fast food, right? Why people, depend a lot on fast food. But the entire idea in the question is that since people are consuming a lot of fast food, so ideally what you have to do is you have to focus more. So the government is enforcing certain policies like increasing the tariff on food, or increasing the taxes on food. And so the question says that, do you think this is going to prevent, do you think that this is going to reduce the worsening of the situation? Do you think this is going to substantially reduce the dependence of people on such canned food? Clear? So this para is not relevant. So when it comes to task achievement and task response, this para is definitely not right, or not up to the mark with regards to the content. Clear? Okay. Let us go to this one, this para. Yes. So if we have to talk about this para, yeah. So tell me, read this para and tell me whether the content of this para is, relevant or not.
That's not
Again,
talk about the okay. Shiva, are you continuing?
yeah, again, this pair also is talking about the food habits and how to improve the fitness and all, but
Yes,
it is not related
right.
to
Right.
anything
So if
related
you
to
look at
health.
this para again, if you look at this para is basically talking about, what the government should be doing, what should be the measures, or what should be the steps that the government should be taking in order to address this concern. But the question is not at all about this, right? The topic of the question is definitely not this. Yes or no? Right? The entire question is asking you that what could be, do you agree or do you disagree, or to what extent do you agree or disagree that such a step or such a measure of increasing the tariff, or levying high tariff on fast food can actually address the concern? So again, this para is irrelevant. So see, sometimes what happens is that we give a lot of content and we become generalized when we are giving the content. Okay, we read the question, and in fact, what confused the aspirant is the question being in two different sentences. Okay, there were two different sentences, and so she focused more on the first part and did not focus or emphasize much on the second part. Okay, the moment she saw, okay, an increasing number of people are suffering from health concerns as a result of eating too much of fast food, I'll start writing about all the adverse consequences, how it can be solved, what would be the steps and the measures taken by the state and the nation. Clear? Yeah. Okay, so ideally this entire essay has to be rewritten. Okay, so I'll just give a comment that the entire this thing has to be written. So right. Essay. So I'll just share this with you. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. That's fine. All right. Now, let me see if I wanted to actually discuss Mandeep's essay, but since she's not there and she has to rewrite the essay, let's see what she says. So Shiva, you've just shared an essay today in the morning, I think, right?
Yeah, morning I sent one.
Okay. All right, let's talk about this. So again, a problem solution essay, yeah? Right? This is a problem
Yeah.
solution essay. Why? Because if you look at the question, it says people who live in large cities.
Are you sharing the screen?
Just share this. Yeah. If you look at the content, you will see it says people who live in large cities face a range of problems in their daily life. So there's a there's a range of problems that people face in their daily life, and then it says that what are the main problems in cities that they face, and how could these problems be tackled. So again, this is a problem solution essay. It is asking you that what are the challenges, what are the concerns that the people who are living in large cities are facing, and how could that be addressed or how could that be solved. Okay, right. So, should I say? So, yeah, fine. So this is how you have to understand the type of the essay, because again, every question has every type of essay has different structure. So you have to abide by that. So let us quickly have an understanding of the structure. So structure for the essay is introduction, that is paraphrasing the question. Then you have the content statement. Then you have your body para 1, which talks about the problems. Then you have your body para 2. Then you have which talks about the solution. Then you have the conclusion that basically summarizes the essay. Whatever problems and whatever solutions you're talking about, you just have to summarize them and put them together in the essay. And then you have a rounding off sentence that is relevant of the essay. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Why we have to talk only problems and solutions in different paragraphs?
Because I mean, it is good that you talk about the problems and the solutions. And see, there are two ways of writing. Either you can talk about the problems and the solutions in different paras, or what you can do is you can club the problem and then give a contrasting linker and you can add the solution along with them. So there are two ways of working on that. Now, what I say is if you're writing problems in one para and if you're talking about the solution in another para, then it is, it becomes very good to read. it becomes very engaging. You can use a, probably in your body para 1, you're just talking about the adverse consequences, about the concerns and the challenges. And then you, as you're making a transition from your body para 1 to body para 2, you are, quickly using a contrasting linker, and you are showing the contrast, and then you're talking about the solution. Okay, you can do that. Otherwise, you can even write the problem in one para and keep the solution. Actually, in the marking criteria in IELTS, they have mentioned that under task, under coherence and cohesion, there is a marking criteria, coherence and cohesion, under which they have mentioned that every paragraph should be having a clear central idea. So if you go by that, every paragraph should be having a clear central idea, which means that, if you're talking about problems in one para, it is good if you can talk about problems in that para. I don't say that because it's language. In language, everything is very fluid. You don't have anything concrete. Okay, so I don't say that if you're posing a problem and then, you are giving a solution along with that, that is wrong. No, not at all. But then as per the marking criteria, I feel that, restricting your problems to one para and restricting or limiting your solutions to the other para is good enough, not bad. Okay, all right, let us work on, and I hope you're doing the planning and micro planning, right? Are you?
Yeah, you're doing.
Good.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
these are the two paras, I think, which is talking about your problems, right, Shiva?
No, actually, what I followed the second structure, the problem and solution, like that. 3 paragraphs I was given.
Okay. Why did you follow the second structure? Because all the problem solution essays that I have shared with you, the corrected sample, I've never given you that structure. I've always been following this structure. In one para, there has to be the problems, and the other para has to be solution. Did you do it out of your own, this one, or like you took some reference from some other materials or something?
I didn't refer your thing, then I was done my own this one.
No,
That
please
is
refer all the corrected samples and all the discussions that have been done earlier. Okay?
yeah.
All right. Fine. Anyway, so we just work on this. Because that's the idea behind doing all these discussions, right? Beforehand, even asking you to work on any type
I'm
of
going through, but I didn't prefer while writing, but this
So
is
you have to take the prints of them, keep it just beside you, and just try to, work on them like that. Okay. I don't say that this is wrong, but I was just curious that did you do it on your own, or did you even refer the corrections that I have done? I was just curious. Okay, anyways, so we'll just discuss this. So again, this is the first concern that you're talking about, the first challenge. And the first challenge is high prices, right? That's what you're saying,
Yeah.
high prices. So when we start with a concern, what is the template that we use when we start with a concern? We start like this? No. No. What is the template that we use? I mean, we can use for a start. Yes, we can use for a start. Okay, then why haven't you used it, Shiva? Why haven't you used it? For a start, high house prices are one of the most serious issues that city dwellers face. Okay, so you're saying, very high prices of the houses. Okay, and then you're saying in many places purchasing a home near the city center is out of reach for people with average salaries, forcing them. Okay, high house prices. Again, as I mentioned that, the vocab has not only has to be topic specific, but the vocab has to be advanced, slightly less commonly used vocab. Now, high is a very common use. Any other words which are better? Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So it could be exorbitantly pricey. That's a right?
Can we use soaring, ma'am, instead of high?
Yeah, soaring prices. Yes. So you can
uncontrolled house prices like that, anything?
no, not uncontrolled. Again, uncontrolled is kind of soaring prices of housing. well. Or the better word would be properties. Okay, now see, are one of the most serious issues. You're just talking about one issue here. And that's, see, this whole thing is a problem. Are you getting it? Soaring prices of houses, this is the subject. Prices is not the subject, or houses is not the subject. So subject verb agreement, be very careful. Soaring prices of houses, exorbitantly pricey houses, high prices of houses. This is the subject, not prices of houses. So as per subject verb agreement rule, you always have to have singular subject and singular verb. So it should not be are, it should be is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and where are your linkers? I don't find your linkers at all. The most serious issues, again, concerns, challenges that city dwellers face. Okay. Why concerns and challenges? They are less commonly used words. They are better. Complexities. You can even write complexities. That's okay. Now you are basically explaining on this, right? In many places, purchasing. So again, in other words, use the explanation linkers. At least once you should use the explanation linker to show that you are explaining. Otherwise, the examiner, otherwise, how would someone understand? Or someone would just question that this sentence could have been clubbed with the first sentence, right? Why has she even separated both of them? Okay, in many places, purchasing a home near the city center is out of reach or beyond reach. Beyond reach, or a better way of writing this could be beyond reach, or maybe beyond the purchasing power and disposable income with average salaries. Yeah. So this from here to here. So either of the ways could be written. Which one do you find better? This is better, right? Purchasing power and this one, yeah?
Yeah.
So again, as I said, that
Disposable
when you
income.
write, please make it a point that you're
Beyond the
using less
purchasing
common
power
used
display.
words, and the advanced words are something that you're using. Okay, forcing them again. Better than forcing, compelling. Right? Compelling. Forcing is correct, but compelling is a less commonly used word, so advanced word. You live outside the city and commute to work. Okay? Commute to work, which in turn is not only time consuming, but also hectic, or you can say tiring. Yeah? Got it, right? So see how beautifully I used a different sentence construction that's not only but also. Right? You gave me a verb ing, definitely. Cause and effect, and there's a verb ing modifier that you've used over here. So this is supposed to be your verb ing. Cause and effect. So cause, you're not being able to purchase a home near the city center. Why? Because it's very pricey, it's very costly and expensive, and so you're moving out of the city. So compelling, verb ing, cause and effect, and then you're trying to put this not only but also, so a different sentence construction. So we are talking about two challenges. One, you're having to stay outside the city, and second, you're having to travel long distances to reach your workplace, which is again extremely hectic and tired. Okay. All right.
Ma'am, so by writing a cause and effect, do we need to put a semicolon or a comma in between?
No, not at all. Not at all. Are we putting? We are not, right? It's just a comma that we put. We are not using semicolon. Always remember, semicolon has to be used when we are giving two complete ideas. Yes, semicolon is definitely used to, show the cause-effect relationship, which is perfectly fine. But then there has to be, it's not only cause and effect. It could, two complete ideas, basically. It's not always cause and effect. Semicolon could be used to separate two complete ideas. Now, those two complete ideas could be anything. Could be two independent ideas, could be cause and effect, could be result and action and results. It could be anything. Okay.
Okay.
All right, fine. So even a one-bedroom flat in central London, for example, is out of reach for many individuals. Okay. To address this issue. Now, see, when you're starting, so this is your solution, right? You're giving a solution, you're giving a measure for your problem. Shiva, you have not referred my corrected sample, and that's not right. There, how are you supposed to start the solution in the same para? You talked about the problem, you talked about the concern, which is perfectly fine, and then from this sentence you're talking about a solution. How would you start the solution? Would you just start it like this, or is there a different way of starting the solution? Yeah, is there a different way of starting the solution, Shiva?
I don't remember, ma'am.
Why can't you remember? What is so difficult to remember? I'm also an engineer, I've worked as an engineer in a corporate firm. I can tell you that this is much easier than engineering. Why can't you why can't you remember? Okay. Anyways, what about you, Aparna?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I changed my career because I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So that was the major reason of, making a smooth transition into this career. But apart from
Okay.
that, when I did engineering, I mean, I think that was way different than, remembering what is the linker or what is the transition word that should be used over here.
However,
Yes. Finally. Right. So see, that's how, you remember. It has to be, however, or for that matter, it could be any contrasting linker, right? It could be any contrasting linker. It could be any transition. I mean, it could be any contradictory linker. So there could be, however, there could be nonetheless,
Nonetheless,
there could be
nevertheless.
nevertheless. So all these are the contrasting linkers. And why are we using these contrasting linkers? Because we are giving a solution. We talked about a concern, we talked about a challenge, and then we are making a transition to giving a solution. So definitely, we have to use one. Okay, to
So
address,
why can't we write that solution in Xpera, ma'am?
I told you, Aparna, that there are two ways of writing. Either you can club
Okay.
it in one para, or you can put it in
Okay.
a separate para. Whatever
Okay.
suits you. If you ask me, I have seen people scoring good scores like 7.58 if they are putting it in different paras. I've also seen people in aspirants scoring good. In IELTS marking criteria under coherence and cohesion, they have mentioned that there has to be a central topic or a central idea for a particular para.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why I say that keep your problems limited to one or two paras, just a problem. You keep your solution and measures limited to, the other paras. But it depends on you actually. So,
Okay.
just yeah. Okay, so to address this issue, the government might provide more resources to the construction of affordable housing, allowing more people. What do you mean by more resources? And do not repeat the term government. I mean, government is definitely a word. You could have also written state, regime, right? So, okay. So the government, state, regime might provide more resources. What do you mean by more resources? More resources to the construction. See, when you're giving a solution, you also have to explain that how the solution or how the step is addressing the problem, how the solution is solving the problem. Okay. So if you say that, it is helping in, what do you mean by resources? What resources are you talking about? Are you talking about subsidies? This is one thing. And second thing, why I do not encourage writing both of them in the same para is that you're also supposed to give evidences for your solution. So it's not just that you give the solution and leave it. You have to explain it. Now the explanation could be done in one sentence. I mean, that's absolutely fine. But you also have to Just give me 1 second. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to give evidence for your solution as well. May not be an evidence for every solution, but definitely there has to be an evidence for the solution. There has to be an explanation. When you say might provide more resources, what do you mean by more resources, Shiva? When you say
So
more,
water problems and constructing the roads and all, that is where I'm
high
coming.
prices. What is the problem that you focused upon? What is the problem that you have emphasized upon? You have talked about the high prices of housing. You know, the houses are not affordable. So the solution that you have given is to tell me more resources, you know, water and all this should be arranged. How does that reduce the cost of the house, the cost of the property? Are you getting it? What I'm trying to say? Are you getting it, Shiva?
Yeah, I'm getting.
Yeah. So do your homework and then write an essay, because you're not writing it for the first time. There have been sufficient lectures on problem solution essay, and you also have the corrected samples. So please go through them, keep them with you, and then write. Okay. All right. Anyway, so let me just, yeah, that, you know, give the correct solution. Maybe you could have talked about subsidies, right? Like if I can give you an example or evidence, like, you know, you have those low, you know, for low income groups, they have these slabs, right? If you're having a low income, then you know, you get certain subsidies, the government housing plans and all these things. So subsidies, the buyers, and then give an evidence. And then again, you cannot end a para with an evidence. You have to give a rounding of sentence. Okay. So anyways, always remember that when it comes to a solution, when you're working on a solution, what is the solution? How the solution is addressing the concern, and evidence is necessary. You cannot just give a solution and leave it. And remember, the solution that you're giving, that has to address the problem. Like here, the concern, the problem that you're talking about is the soaring prices of houses. So if you say, you know, more resources, what do you mean by more resources? And if you say that they should be arranging for water, electricity, and they should be making all the utilities fine, that is not going to solve the concern of high and soaring prices of houses. With that, no. Okay. All right. Fine. Anyway, so we'll move on to the next para. I'm just closing this room, guys. You guys can join in with the same name in the other room. Okay.
Okay.